Next, I am going to discuss about general circular motion. This general circulation motion chapter, in some of the books it is discussed after Newton's laws and friction. In some of the books on basic physics, this topic general circular motion is discussed after basic laws of motion, that is Newton's laws of motion and friction, but before rotational dynamics. So this general circular motion, we discuss it as a separate chapter. That is, before we discuss about rotational mechanics or rotational dynamics. So in general circular motion, we discuss the motion of a particle moving in the circular path. We discuss about the motion of a particle moving in the circular path, or motion of a body moving in a circular path. In rotational mechanics, we separately discuss the pure rotational motion of a rigid body. So that will be discussed separately. So in general circular motion, at first I am going to discuss about uniform circular motion. First, I am going to discuss the uniform circular motion and the expression for the centripetal force. So next, I will be discussing about non-uniform circular motion, and later about motion in a vertical circle. And I will be giving you separate assignment for this general circular motion. So you first concentrate only to listen to my explanation or discussion. So don't write running notes when I am explaining. You can write the notes later after I show you the notes here on the screen. So after the explanation, after completing my explanation part, I will be showing you the notes for uniform circular motion. Then you can start writing the notes when I tell you to write the notes. But at present, just only to concentrate to listen. So in general, if you consider a particle moving in the circular path with a constant speed, then the circular motion is said to be uniform. So in uniform circular motion, speed is uniform. As I discussed earlier in kinematics, speed is a scalar quantity which has only magnitude but no direction. So body covers equal distances in successive equal intervals of time. However small the time intervals may be, and the particle is said to be moving with uniform speed. So when the particle moves in the circular path with uniform speed, the circular motion is said to be uniform. So let us suppose the particle moves in the circular path. Let us consider a particle which moves in circular path in the plane of the diagram in anti-clockwise direction with uniform speed. The speed is uniform, then the circular motion is said to be uniform. So in uniform circular motion, speed is constant, or you can say magnitude of velocity is constant. But the direction of the velocity is not constant. Direction of the velocity continuously changes from instant to instant. Let O denote the center of circular path. Let A be the position of the particle in the circular path at a particular instant. The velocity of the particle at the point A will be along the tangent to the circular path at the point A. Let VA bar denote the velocity vector ETA. Let B denote the position of the particle after a finite time interval. Then the velocity of the particle at the position B will be along the tangent to the circular path at B. VB bar represents the velocity vector at the point B. So VA bar is the velocity vector at the point A which acts along the tangent to circular path at A, or at 30 degrees to circular path, to the radius of circle. The small r denotes the radius of circular path. The VB bar is the velocity of the particle at the point B, which acts along the tangent to circular path at B. So the two vectors VA bar and VB bar, I'm talking about uniform circular motion here. So at present my discussion is confined for uniform circular motion. So we say that circular motion is uniform when magnitude of velocity is constant or speed is constant. So magnitude of the velocity vector of A, magnitude of velocity vector of the particle at the point A, same as the magnitude of velocity vector of the particle at the point B. So mod of the vector VA bar is same as modulus of vector VB bar, which we denoted by V. That gives you the speed of the particle, which is constant. But you cannot write VA bar equal VB bar because the directions of the two vectors VA bar and VB bar are not equal, are not same. So in uniform circular motion, velocity is not uniform. Velocity is constant in magnitude but continuously changes in direction. At any instant, the instantaneous velocity of the particle is direct along the tangent to the circular path at that instant. So the angle between the radius of circle at A and radius of circle at B, we denote it by theta or delta theta. Theta or delta theta represents the angular displacement of the particle. If t is the time taken by the particle to move from the point A to the point B on circular path, then theta is called angular displacement of the particle in the time interval t. The angular displacement theta is expressed in radian. So in uniform circular motion, speed is constant. We can also say that angular velocity, denoted by omega bar, will be constant. The angular velocity of the particle can be defined as rate of change in the angular position of the particle or rate of angular displacement of the particle. So if the circular motion is uniform, the particle covers equal distances in successive equal intervals of time in the circular path, however small the time intervals may be. So when the particle covers equal distances in successive equal time intervals, so the particle also undergoes equal angular displacements in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. So therefore, in uniform circular motion, angular velocity is constant because the particle undergoes equal angular displacements in successive equal intervals of time when it moves in the circular path with uniform speed. So in uniform circular motion, in the simpler way, the magnitude of angular velocity or angular speed can be written as theta by t. The magnitude of angular velocity or angular speed can be written as theta by t. Theta is expressed in radian, time is expressed in seconds. So this can be written as radian per second. The time taken by the particle to complete one revolution. The time taken by the particle to complete one revolution in the circular path is called as the time period of revolution of the particle. The time taken by the particle to complete one revolution in the circular path is called the time period of revolution of the particle, which is denoted by capital T. So when the particle completes one revolution, when the particle just completes one revolution, the angular displacement theta can be taken as equal to 360 degrees or 2 pi radian. That means theta will be equal to 2 pi radian when the time interval small t equal to capital T. So omega can be written as, in uniform circular motion, 2 pi by capital T. Here capital T is the time period of revolution of the particle. Means capital T is the time taken by the particle to complete one revolution in circular path. That means capital T is the time taken to move once around the circular path. The number of revolutions completed by the particle in 1 second is called as the frequency of revolution. The number of revolutions completed by the particle in 1 second is called as the frequency of revolution. I denote it by small n. Suppose if you are given that the frequency of revolution is 5 per second or 5 revolutions per second, it means the particle completes 5 revolutions in 1 second, or the time taken to complete 5 revolutions will be 1 second. When the particle is moving with uniform speed in circular path, it completes equal number of revolutions in successive equal intervals of time. So therefore time taken for each one revolution will be same. So if the time taken for 5 revolutions is 1 second, the time taken for one revolution will be 1 by 5 seconds. The time taken to complete one revolution is called the time period of revolution. That means if the frequency of revolution is 5 revolutions per second, then the time period of revolution will be 1 by 5 seconds. Or in the case of uniform circular motion, the time period of revolution can be written as the reciprocal of frequency of revolution. Or frequency of revolution can be written as the reciprocal of the time period of revolution. So omega can be written as 2 pi by capital T, and it can also write it as 2 pi n, where n is the frequency of revolution. So in uniform circular motion, the speed of the particle is uniform, means magnitude of velocity is constant. If a particle moves with uniform speed, as you study in the lower classes also, in elementary part of kinematics, speed of the particle can be written as equal to the distance covered by the particle divided by time taken. So when the particle completes one revolution, the distance covered will be equal to the circumference 2 pi r, and the time taken by the particle to complete one revolution is denoted by capital T, which we call time period of revolution. So magnitude of the velocity or speed of the particle in uniform circular motion can be written as 2 pi r by capital T. Now 2 pi by capital T can be written as omega, or you can write V equal to omega into r. So magnitude of the linear velocity of the particle moving in the circular path is given by V equal to r omega, or omega into r, where r is the radius of circular path, omega the angular speed. Of course, the linear speed or magnitude of velocity is expressed in meter per second. Omega is expressed in radian per second. So magnitude of the velocity is constant, but direction of the velocity continuously changes. So velocity is not uniform. Speed of the particle is constant. Therefore, we can say that kinetic energy of the particle remains constant. Kinetic energy is a scalar quantity, which is equal to half into mass into square of the magnitude of velocity or speed, or half mv square. So in Newtonian mechanics, the mass of the particle, we assume it to be constant. So magnitude of velocity and speed of the particle is constant uniform circular motion, so kinetic energy of the particle will be constant. So here again we have a discussion. Now remember that our discussion at present is confined to uniform circular motion. So when the particle moves in the circular path with uniform speed, the circular motion is said to be uniform. So A is the position of the particle at one particular instant of time, t equal to t1, and B is the position of the particle at a later instant of time, t equal to t2 suppose. Then the kinetic energy of the particle remains constant during the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1. I'm talking about uniform circular motion. So the kinetic energy of the particle remains constant according to the work energy theorem. The work done by the resultant external force on the particle can be written as equal to change in the kinetic energy of the particle. But here there is no change in the kinetic energy. So change in the kinetic energy will be zero. So work done by the resultant external force on the particle is zero. So in uniform circular motion, speed is uniform but velocity is not constant. Velocity is not uniform because the direction of the velocity changes continuously from instant to instant. Therefore, we can say that in uniform circular motion, the particle has an acceleration which is not equal to zero. Small a denote the magnitude of acceleration. So the particle will have an acceleration due to change in the direction of the velocity. The moving particle has a finite mass. It is understood that the particle in motion has a finite mass. Then there must be a resultant external force on the particle which produces this acceleration. From Newton's second law, the resultant external force on the particle of mass m, when the mass of particle is constant, can be written as ma bar, where a bar is the acceleration of the particle. So here resultant external force on the particle is not zero. Again I am telling you our discussion is confined at present about uniform circular motion. So resultant external force on the particle is not zero. But work done by the resultant external force is zero. Resultant external force on the particle in uniform circular motion is not zero. But work done by the resultant force is zero. Which means the resultant force continuously acts perpendicular to the instantaneous velocity of the particle. The resultant external force continuously acts perpendicular to the instantaneous velocity of the particle. So the resultant external force of the particle continuously acts perpendicular to the instantaneous velocity of the particle. So it can be shown that the instantaneous acceleration will be directed along the radius of the circular path and towards center circular path. So with the velocity at the point A, we denote it by suppose v1 bar, and velocity at the point B is denoted by v2 bar. This angle is theta. That means theta is angular displacement in the time interval, or delta theta is angular displacement in the time interval delta t equal to t2 minus t1. So change in the velocity vector We denote it by delta V bar. For the time interval delta t equal to T2 minus T1 is equal to vector difference of V2 bar minus V1 bar. You can draw a separate figure. The angle between the tangents to the circle at the points A and B will be same as the angle between the radius of circle at A and radius of circle at B. So here if you reverse the second velocity vector, minus V1 bar will be like this. V2 bar will be directed like this. So change in the velocity vector. Because mod of in the uniform circular motion, mod of V2 bar is same as mod of V1 bar. So mod of vector minus V1 bar from definition of negative vector is same as mod of V1 bar, which is equal to mod of V2 bar. So these two vectors shown in the figure, this vector V2 bar and minus V1 bar, they have same magnitude. So the resultant bisects the angle with the two vectors. So delta V bar acts like this. So when the time interval delta t is tending to 0, this delta V bar will be exactly directed toward the center of circular path. So the average acceleration for the time interval delta t can be written as delta V bar by delta t. So instantaneous acceleration, magnitude of instantaneous acceleration can be written as limit delta t tending to 0, delta V by delta t. So, as I discussed earlier in vectors, if two vectors A bar and B bar have same magnitude, magnitude of the vector difference A bar minus B bar is equal to 2A sine theta by 2. So let V denote the magnitude of velocity at each point A or B, because magnitude of velocity is a constant uniform circular motion. So mod of V2 bar minus V1 bar can be written as 2V sine delta theta by 2. So here, because this you can write 2V sine delta theta by 2. Of course, when the time interval delta t is tending to 0, sine delta theta will be very, very small. So sine delta theta by 2 can be approximately taken as equal to delta theta by 2 expressed in radian. Did not copy all this working. I think the derivation was actually in the states, for state syllabus students in Andhra Pradesh, it is discussed in 10th class book, but in the regular intermediate textbook, you are directly given the conclusion. So anyhow, you have to remember the conclusion. So you get V into, write this step again here, magnitude of instantaneous acceleration is equal to V into delta theta by delta t. So when the time interval delta t is tending to 0, this ratio delta theta by delta t will be written as d theta by dt. That is equal to omega. So magnitude of the instantaneous acceleration in uniform circular motion can be written as v into omega, and direction of this instantaneous acceleration will be directed towards the center of circular path. So when the time interval delta t tends to 0, this delta v bar will be exactly directed towards center of circular path at this point A. So v can be written as r omega. So this you can also write r square omega. This can also write as A equal to V omega. Omega can be written as V by R. So magnitude of instantaneous acceleration is V square by R. So the conclusion is that when the particle moves in circular path with uniform speed, that is in the case of uniform circular motion, the acceleration is constant in magnitude but continuously changes in direction. At any instant, the instantaneous acceleration is directed along the radius of circular path and towards the center of the circular path. So magnitude of the acceleration is given by A equal to V square by R, or you can write V omega or R square omega. Or omega square, it's not R square omega, you correct it here. R omega square. So the direction of the acceleration is continuously changes from instant. The acceleration of the particle at the instant t equal to t1 at the point A acts along the radius of circular path at A. The direction of the instantaneous acceleration at the point B will be along the radius of circular path and towards center circular path. This acceleration arises due to change in the direction of the velocity. So sometimes called as radial acceleration, because it acts along the radius of circular path. And sometimes the same acceleration can also be called as centripetal acceleration, because it acts towards center of the circular path. So from Newton's second law, there is a magnitude of the resultant external force acting on the particle in uniform circular motion can be written as product of the mass of the particle and magnitude of the accelerated particle. So magnitude of the acceleration you can write V square by R, or we can also write V into omega, or you can write mr omega square. All these forms are equivalent to each other. In another term, the linear momentum. From definition, linear momentum of particle is given by P bar equal to mv bar. M is the mass of the particle, V bar is linear velocity vector of the particle. So direction of the linear momentum of the particle at any instant will be same as the direction of the linear velocity vector V bar at that instant. So for the particle moving in the circular path, the direction of the velocity vector V bar at any instant will be along the tangent to the circular path at that instant. The direction of the linear velocity vector V bar of the particle at any instant will be along the tangent to the circular path at that instant. Therefore, the direction of the linear momentum vector P bar of the particle at any instant will also be along the tangent to the circular path at that instant. So linear momentum of the particle is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. The direction of the linear momentum of the particle at any instant will be along the tangent to circular path at that instant. So direction of the linear momentum of the particle at the instant when it passes through a point A will be along the tangent to circular path at that point A. So direction of the linear momentum of the particle at the instant when it passes through another point B will be along the tangent to circular path at the point B. The direction of the resultant external force in the particle same as the direction of the acceleration of the particle. I mean the direction of the instantaneous value of the external force instantaneous external force on the particle. Direct of the resultant force on the particle, same as the direct of the acceleration. And direct of the instantaneous acceleration along the radius and towards center of circular path. So resultant force on the particle at the point A acts along the radius AO. The resultant external force on the particle at the instant when it reaches another point B in the circle will be along the radius of the circle at B. That means the resultant external force on the particle in uniform circular motion is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. At any instant, the resultant external force on the particle acts along the radius and towards center circular path. That means the resultant force continuously acts perpendicular to the instantaneous velocity and no work is done by this force. So I would like to summarize the discussion which I have done so far. I am also going to show you the notes for what I have discussed so far. So those who are writing the notes, please come on, get ready with your notebook and pen. So I am going to show you the notes for uniform circular motion. So it will be always better if you write a systematic notes so that it will be easier for you to revise later. And you gain more confidence in the theory part and basic concepts once you write the notes for what you have studied. So I am going to show you the notes on the screen. That means I am going to summarize the discussion I have done so far about uniform circular motion. Look at the screen. The side heading you can put uniform circular motion. If a particle of mass small m moves in a circular path of radius r with uniform speed v. So I am going to show you the summary of the conclusion one after another. That is, I have put 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. That is gives you the summary of the conclusions. First point, the circular motion is said to be uniform. Next, 2. The angular velocity of the particle is constant and its magnitude is given by omega equal theta by small t, or omega equal 2 pi by capital T, which can also be written as 2 pi into small n. Come on, copy down the notes up to here. In case you need more time to copy the notes, you can take a pause. You can take a pause and take your time to copy the notes. The theta is the angular displacement of the particle in time t. Capital T is the time period and small n is the frequency of revolution of the particle. Next point, third point, velocity of the particle is not uniform. Velocity is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. At any instant, the velocity of the particle is directed along the tangent to circular path at that instant. And its magnitude is given by, you can write V equal R omega or 2 pi R by capital T or 2 pi n R. Come on, copy down the notes. Those who are writing the notes, they can take a pause now and finish writing the notes up to here, so that I can show you the continuation for this. Next, I am going to show the continuation for this. Fourth point, acceleration of the particle is not uniform. Acceleration is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. At any instant, acceleration is directed along the radius and toward the center of circular path. And its magnitude is given by A equal V square by R. Or you can write R omega square or V omega. All these three forms are equivalent because V equal R omega. Since V equal R omega. Come on, finish writing. You can take a pause to write the notes. In case you need more time, you may need more time to copy the notes. So you can take a pause and take your time to copy the notes. I'm going to show the continuation for this. The next point, the kinetic energy of the particle remains constant and no work is done by the resultant external force on the particle. Next point, sixth one. The resultant force on the particle is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. At any instant, the resultant external force acts along the radius and towards center of circular path, and its magnitude is given by F external equal mv or mv square by r. Come on, finish writing the notes up to here. Can take a pause and take your time to copy the notes. You can also write as mr omega square. All of you finish writing the notes up to here. And take a pause and complete writing the notes up to here. I'm going to show you one more point here. The linear moment of the particle is constant in magnitude but changes in direction. At any instant, the linear momentum is directed along the tangent to the circular path at that instant. Can finish writing this point also. So far I have discussed about uniform circular motion and I have given you a list of some conclusions applicable for a particle moving in the circular path with uniform speed. That means I have discussed some conclusions for the applicable for a particle in uniform circular motion. If the speed of the particle moving in the circular path is constant, then circular motion is said to be uniform. So those who are writing the notes, they can stop writing the notes now. Again, you just concentrate to listen. So if the speed of the particle moving the circular path is not constant, then the circular motion is said to be non-uniform. If the speed of the particle moving the circular path is not constant, then circular motion is said to be non-uniform. As you might have studied in lower classes about the definitions for uniform speed and non-uniform speed, etc. A particle in motion is said to be moving with uniform speed when it covers equal distances in successive equal intervals of time, however small the time intervals may be. The particle moving in a circular path is said to be moving with a non-uniform speed or variable speed if it does not cover equal distances in successive equal intervals of time. So, I would like to discuss once the term centripetal force before I discuss separately about non-uniform circular motion. I will separately summarize the discussion for non-uniform circular motion, but I would like to discuss the term centripetal force. In the case of uniform circular motion, speed is constant, magnitude velocity is constant. So direction of the velocity changes continuously from instant to instant. The direction of the velocity when the particle is at a point A in the circular path will be along the tangent to circular A. The direction of the velocity of the particle when it reaches some other point B in circular path will belong the tangent to circular B. So if you want to keep the particle in uniform circular motion, then the direction of its velocity has to be changed continuously from instant to instant. According to Newton's first law, if no external force acts on a particle, or if resultant of all the external forces acting on the particle is zero, then the particle either remains at rest or moves in a straight line path with uniform velocity. From Newton's first law, you can say that if the resultant of all the external forces acting on a particle is zero, or if no net external force acts on the particle, and the particle will either remain at rest or moves in a straight line path with uniform velocity. So if you consider the particle in motion, if no external force acts on the particle in motion, or if the resultant of all the external forces on the particle in motion is zero, then there will be no change in the direction of the velocity of the particle, and there will be no change in the magnitude of velocity of the particle. Which means that if you want to change either the magnitude or change only the direction of the velocity, a force is required. Because if no net external force acts on the particle which is set into motion, which is already set into motion, if no net external force acts on the particle which is already set into motion, then the particle moves in a straight line path with no change in direction of the velocity and no change in magnitude of velocity. That means a force is to be required to change the direction of the velocity of the particle. If you want to keep the particle in uniform circular motion, and the direction of its velocity has to be changed continuously from instant to instant. Therefore, you can say that a force is required to keep the particle in uniform circular motion, because the direction of its velocity has to be changed continuously from instant to instant, for which force is required. Say continuous external force must act on the particle in uniform circular motion, which continuously changes the direction of the velocity. So centripetal force is the force required or necessary to keep the particle in uniform circular motion. Or you can say centripetal force is the force which causes the uniform circular motion. Same time, don't mistake that centripetal force is any new kind of force, like gravitational force or Coulomb electrical force, like that. So whatever external forces act on a particle moving in the circular path, the resultant of all those forces acting on the particle will be directed exactly towards center of circular path along the radius of circular path when the circular motion is uniform. As the resultant force is directed towards center, we call it a centripetal force. Even if the circular motion is not uniform, the resultant force on the particle will have a component along the radius and towards center of circular path. So the component of the resultant external force on the particle which acts along the radius and towards the center of circular path, we call radial component of the resultant force or centripetal force. So when the particle or object moves in the circular path, we can say that the resultant force of the particle will either act towards center of circular path or at least will have component in the direction along the radius and towards center of circular path. The method we follow for problems in general circular motion is somewhat similar to the method we have discussed in the problems in Newton's laws of motion. Here also we draw a free body diagram for the object moving in the circular path. The circular motion is uniform. We conclude that net force must be directed towards center of circular path. If it is circular motion is not uniform, even then there must be a net force in the direction along the radius towards center of circular path. That means the resultant force will have a component in the direction along the radius towards center of circular path, even in non-uniform circular motion. The resultant force which acts along the radius and towards center of circular path, we call it a centripetal force. So we find the net force acting on the particle in the direction along the radius. I am talking about the procedure for problems in general circular motion. We draw the free body diagram for the body. Whatever external force act on the particle, we must be shown in the free body diagram. And one of the forces may act towards center of circular path and another force may act away from center of circular path. So you must try to find the net force on the particle in the direction along the radius and towards center from the free body diagram. And that can be equated to product of mass and magnitude of acceleration towards center, as per in accordance with Newton's second law. So I will continue my discussion in my next class.